Hello, bonjour. I didn't realize that, I just forgot that I should be speaking French, so I don't have any French in my presentation, but yeah. So I'm going to present a youth perspective on climate education. My name's Quinn, I'm 14. So I'll be talking about the climate strike movement a little bit, and I will sort of go over, I sort of have three main aspects of climate education that I think should be addressed in the curriculum, and I will sort of talk about what you can do to take action, and it will all be from my perspective, so the perspective of the youth, which is pretty important. And then a little bit about how I've been involved. I'm a 10th student in grade 9, and I'm a member of the Sackley Youth Climate Change Coalition, or SIC for short, so I helped form that, and I organize climate strikes with them. I'm a member of the Mayor's Roundtable on Climate Change here in Sackville, and I've done a TEDx youth talk on the topic of climate art, and I've recently spoken at We Day Atlantic Canada, which was like 10,000 people, so that was really cool. So yeah, I'm pretty involved in climate change and very passionate about it. So a little background on the youth climate strike movement. It was started by Greta Thunberg, who's a 16-year-old Swedish climate activist, and she's recently crossed the Atlantic Ocean by boat to spread her message in North America. And the movement has really grown a lot. So between September 20th and 27th, there were over 7.5 million people striking in, I think, 185 countries. And we have coordinated demands, demanding action. And a lot of people are sort of uncomfortable with the idea of striking and missing school, but we have some pretty good reasons as to why we're doing this, such as why should we have to study for a future if we may not have one, and why should we get educated if the people in power don't listen to the most highly educated climate scientists who are telling them to stop emissions. And a lot of people say, oh, well, if you care about this so much, you should study to become a climate scientist so that you can take action. But the IPCC has given us an 11-year time frame to stop climate change. And so by the time we've reached that level of education, it will be too late. So when people in Sackville started hearing about the climate strikes, we decided to organize some here. So SIC was formed, Sackley Youth Climate Change Coalition, and we have an adult branch of that and a tension branch. We've organized 4 climate strikes so far, the one on March 15th, where we demanded climate education. And then on May 3rd, we held a climate education session, and there were speakers from NBN and other experts on climate change. And we also had one on May 24th, and more recently on September 27th, we had 400 people, which was a fantastic turnout, and we followed up on those education demands. Throughout all the climate strikes, we've made demands at all levels of government, and we've had participants from all the different schools. And also in the Sackley Youth Climate Change Coalition, we have members from Marjorie, Tanchmar, and Ballet, so the collaboration between all the different ages is a really good experience. So it would be really nice if the schools were a little more supportive of the climate strikes. There have been school boards and universities that have closed down the schools and encouraged the students to go and participate in the strikes because it's such a fantastic learning opportunity to learn about your community and climate change and democracy and stuff, and it's just a really great experience. So and even if you're not going to close down the school completely, some schools have decided not to schedule tests on that day, or made it really easy for students to go on strike and encouraged it. So that would just be something that would be really great if that could happen in our area. So now we're going to switch over to the curriculum. So building a climate curriculum, I think it's really important to focus on the climate crisis because there's a lot of confusion or sort of misinformation about climate change versus other environmental issues. So a lot of people think, oh, if I switch to using metal straws, I'm helping the climate crisis, when in fact that's a different environmental issue, which is also really important, but climate change is the one where we have the 11-year time frame. It's the urgent one that we need to be focused focusing on. And there also can't be any debate. Like, this is definitely what's going on. Climate change is caused by humans, and yeah, it can't be debatable what's happening. And the curriculum needs to be based on the best available science, the science from the IPCC was born. It has to be created by experts on climate change. And it would be really good if the curriculum could be updated frequently, because climate change is a constantly changing issue, and the stuff that we're learning needs to be kept up to date with what's happening in the world. And a lot of people think that you could teach about climate change in only science class. So, but that's not true. All classes can be taught with a climate lens. You can teach climate art in art class. You can have discussions about climate change in English. The statistics in math class could be statistics about climate change. So that would be great if all classes could be taught with a climate lens. So now, I sort of have 3 different aspects. Yeah, so I think it would be important, because it's crazy how many youth don't even know that their future is in jeopardy, that they're completely unaware that climate change is happening. So the basics of climate change need to be taught, so the science behind it, the greenhouse effect, why this is happening, then the history, like how we came to be in this situation, how humans have caused this, and the biggest sources of CO2 emissions, like airplanes and large-scale agriculture, and climate change versus other environmental issues. I've definitely had a lot of youth come up to me telling me how they're cutting down on single-use plastics, so they're helping climate change, but there's no direct link there. And then the effects of climate change. So I have a little list here. That's definitely not all the effects, but youth need to know what will happen if we don't take action, because otherwise they won't have a reason to take action if they don't know what will happen if they don't. And yes, this is a lot of the effects of climate change. They're really sad and hard to hear, but it's unfortunately reality, and the youth need to know what's happening, what's going to happen in the future. They also need to know what can be done. So we talked a little bit earlier about eco-anxiety and stuff like that. But that can be countered by hope, by taking action. And it's also important for the youth to know like why their actions are helping. So if we tell them to buy local, they need to know why. They need to know that and understand that by buying local, the transportation required is you're eliminating those emissions. And also, they will have just learned about how we need large-scale global action, but it's also important to stress that individual action is also necessary, because we need a combination of both in order to stop climate change. And also direct action versus indirect action. So actions that by doing them you are actually stopping emissions of CO2 versus emissions, or versus actions that by going to a climate strike you may not actually be reducing your emissions in doing that, but you are spreading awareness, which is also really important. And then all of this needs to be delivered really sensitively, because this is a tough subject, and there's going to be a wide range of emotional responses: frustration, anger, fear, sadness. And there is a wide age range. You can't tell the same things to a grade 1 student that you might tell a grade 10 student. And knowledge base. There are people who are youth who are really well informed about this subject, and other youth who have no idea what's going on. So it's important to be aware of that. And there has been a lot of people saying, oh my gosh, climate change, we're all going to die. But that's not the case. We're in a very urgent situation right now, but we're not all going to die. There's still hope, time to take action. And acknowledging eco-anxiety, like I said earlier, hope comes from action, as Greta Thunberg often says. So if you are taking action with your students, then you will be reducing eco-anxiety by showing that things can be done. So to sum it all up, climate change is the defining issue of our time. And there is still time to change, but it will require the largest, not more, global transformation since the Industrial Revolution. And teachers are so important in this, because it will require everyone to be really well informed and knowledgeable, have the skills, confidence, and motivation to make this this transformation, and the teachers will be the ones who will do that. You essentially hold the future in your hands because you're with youth all day and you have the ability to inspire them. And we're going to need everyone, all the educators in all the different fields. And so you guys have the ability to shape the future. But don't wait for the curriculum to be ready. The curriculum takes a long time to develop. And so start learning about climate change as soon as you can, and then bring up the topic tomorrow in class. Start teaching with a climate lens. That means anytime you see the opportunity to bring up climate change in what you're teaching, do so. And start to inform and inspire your students, then take action, because we need climate education right now. Thank you.
So we have time for a few questions if anyone has a question for Quinn. Temps pour des questions. Ok, elle peut aussi prendre des questions en français.
Thank you for that great job, Quinn. The title of this conference includes politics, and our previous speaker was a politician. And I'm wondering if you have any suggestions for teachers, because it's often difficult to talk about politics in the classroom, but politics is obviously part of the solution, like who you vote for, etc. So I'm wondering if you have any suggestions for how teachers might deal with that. How do you talk about politics in the classroom?
I think it's really important to talk about politics with students because they may often feel like the youth often feel like they're not included in political discussions. So I think teachers should inform their students about what's going on in the political world, and then have discussions with them and allow them to express their opinions and just discuss it openly. So yeah, but don't hesitate to bring up politics because it's really important for youth to be engaged in politics because it's not that long until we are voters. So yeah, we just need to be informed about that.
Merci. J'avais une question pour toi. Dans les écoles, on essaye de voir comment faire venir des conférenciers, par exemple, pour parler aux élèves. Penses-tu que ce serait important que ce soit des jeunes qui viennent parler de leur projet à vous autres? Est-ce que ça irait plus vous chercher ou que c'est mieux que ce soit comme un scientifique ou une personne adulte qui vous parle du sujet?
Tu voulais demander si ce serait mieux si c'est les jeunes qui donnent l'information aux étudiants?
Oui, comme pour toi, est-ce que ça irait plus te chercher si c'était des projets de jeunes qui viennent parler de leur projet, ou que ce soit des adultes qui viennent parler de l'environnement dans les cours?
Je pense que c'est un mélange des deux, parce que si c'est seulement les jeunes qui donnent l'information aux étudiants, il y a une chance que les étudiants n'allaient pas penser que c'est vrai. Comme si l'information vient d'un adulte, il sait que c'est l'information importante et vraie. Mais après qu'ils ont de l'information et ils connaissent les choses, c'est important de donner les perspectives des jeunes après qu'ils savent ce qu'ils.
First of all, great job answering in French. Wow, on the spot. French immersion works, everyone. Yes. Speaking. Okay, yes. Go ahead and applaud. So I teach grade 9 math in French, but when I bring up climate change in class, I'm always more worried that there are some students in the class who are thinking, what does this have to do with math, and why are we spending our time on this? So do you find, as a student, a grade 9 student, what do you do? What would you suggest that I do for those students? Like, I want to talk about it, but there are some students that are like, this has nothing to do with math class. So just do you have any advice on that, or have you had that experience in your own classes where some students are interested and others aren't, and how do you deal with that?
Well, I think that climate change is everywhere, and it has to do, you can teach all classes with the climate lens, like I said. So maybe if you could explain that to your students and teach them math using statistics about the effects of climate change or something like that, and you can show them the math that some people have to do all the time about climate change. And I think when teachers I know in my classes have brought up climate change, yes, there have been some students who aren't as engaged and others who are, but I think if there was a full climate curriculum, then and they're learning about that more frequently, then they would know, because some students don't have a very big knowledge base about the issue, so they may not be aware of how urgent the situation is and how important this issue is. So that may be one of the reasons why they're sort of wondering why we're talking about it.
Okay, thanks everybody. Thank you very much, Quinn.
I just have one.
One?
Yeah, really quick.
Yeah.
I guess I was reading here. Quinn, I'm a teacher in the school system, and I'm standing here, or sitting here, watching you speak about this so passionately. First of all, I'm going to say I'll vote for you in 15 minutes. But my question is how do I help create, or how do I help, I guess not create, but how do I help inspire students with one thing? If there's one thing that I can leave here with today, what sparked you?
I've always been passionate about the environment, but really what sparked me to take bigger action was Greta Thunberg and climate strikes. So if it's possible for you to show images and videos from the strikes around the world, just to show like the mobilization and the incredible movement that has begun, I think that's just so incredibly inspiring for people, especially people who participated in the climate strikes, to see that they're not alone and that how big this movement is, showing how passionate other youth are and how important that it is. So yeah, the climate strikes are really uniting youth across the world. So that's something really cool that students can be aware of.
Okay, thank you.